Hi and welcome to another episode of the Getting Things Done podcast from Vital Learning. I am Morten Røvik, and as always I'm here with my good friend and colleague Lars Rothschild Henriksen. Привет, Lars.
Привет, Morten. Good to see you as always, and it's always good to be with our listeners and viewers out there. We always start off with a quick reminder of the purpose of the podcast, which is to help you learn GTD or become even better GTDers. We hope that today's episode supports you in that. If you're new to GTD, we always recommend you go back and find the audio versions of the first 6 episodes to introduce you to the basics of GTD, the 5 steps. Today's episode number is number 134 of the podcast, and today's episode is the first of our 20 years of GTD series, and this first episode is called Mixing Things Up Messes Things Up.
Yes, it does, and this has been an idea that I had for some time, that I should create a list of the things that I've learned doing GTD for 20 years, because Lars and I have done GTD for altogether 37 years old now.
38, I think, yeah.
38, okay.
18 for me, 20 for you. So,
okay,
yeah.
so in my anniversaries, I'm a little early because my 20th anniversary in GTD is in the 2nd of June this year, so 2026, 2nd of June. So we're a little early, but we can celebrate in the year, I guess. We have something, so let's start up a little early. And the idea is that the lessons I've learned as I've tried to categorize them, and that I've my early steps into GTD and what I've learned as a GTD trainer and coach for not 20 years, but since 2013. So that's not fully 20 years old, but 20 years, but it is some. So, and the episode today was mixing it up, messes things up, and the underlying thinking for the title of this is that we do have things that we do when we try to learn GTD. At least I've done that, and I guess you've done that too, Lars, is that we've focused on trying to create a hybrid system. And with hybrid system, I mean that you take what you've learned from before and you try to mix it with GTD. You're not ready to let GTD take over. So when you started off, Lars, back in the day, how did you do this? Did you mix it up?
Yes, I would have done that in some way. When I think back to it, I don't think, well, I would argue we all have a system, right? But there wasn't really much of a system to build on. It was, or at least not in the, out of the head space. It was very much all in my head and looking around for things. I think again,
mine too.
Like you said, this is 18 years ago, so it's I may be wrong on that one, but it's the first thing when people ask me about when I started with GTD was just started writing things down. So yes, there would certainly have been a mix of things, right? Because as many of our listeners will know, that is only step one of more steps to come, right? So I would absolutely have mixed some things there, no doubt.
Well, but how did your system of get something done, how did that look back in the day? Because I remember when I did this, when I before I stumbled upon GTD, my system would look like, I sometimes wrote down what I call a panic list, kind of like a, hey, it's too much list. Yeah. And that was one thing, which is good. You should do that, continue to do that. But one of the things, or many of the things that I've found to be true throughout the years is, for example, I used Post-its. I don't know. Did you use Post-it notes at some point?
Yeah, of course. But never. I don't think I used it that much. But that's just the geeky side of me that I have. Back on the Windows machine, Command R, Notepad. Right. So you open up the Notepad from the program or whatever it's called, and then just typing things in there. So that was probably my short list, and then email. I would live in
Okay.
email because we were, a small office in a somewhat global organization, which just meant that everything was thrown at us via email and spreadsheets to fill out and customers to reach out to and all that. So
Mm.
I think much of it would have been in email, and that's where I would have to navigate all this.
Mm. So what I remember from that time, but when I talked about post-its, is that I used that as my system, and I had I don't remember how many inches my screen was. Probably back in 2006 around 17 inches, so it's not huge, but on
12.
yeah, 12 inches, no, probably not. But I don't know. But it had bezels, which means that the edge of the screen is that the black at the edge of the screen is a little bigger than it is today. So you had the space to stick post-it notes around the screen, and I humorously tell the story when I give keynotes sometimes that. It looks like I had a 2-day beard with post-its, yellow post-its around the screen, and that was my system. Things that I should not forget, things that I must remember, information. So, and we are going to one of the episodes coming up. So this is a teaser. Is going to be when you don't have sharp edges in your system, that leads to procrastination. It leads to you have to rethink things. So we will get back to that. But my system was around the screen, and what happened one day was that the glue was not very good. I don't know if you've seen how the post-it fall off anything, but it then it slid down onto the floor, and the cleaning person tossed it. It was on the floor. It's to be tossed, and I was fairly panicked for some time then. So that was that was back in the post-it days. And you talked about sending email, Lars. Did you so did you send emails to yourself as reminders? Is that how you did that?
Yeah, I did that as well. I don't know if I did that just leading up to GTD or whether that was also, because that did also find its way into my my GTD habits early on, right? That didn't have any good tools to throw that in an inbox that made sense to me. So that seemed like the best way. So I would, frequently show up to 5-10 emails from me on Monday morning.
Yeah, you did not have enough emails. Like there's not enough
exactly.
stuff.
I need more. I need more.
Yeah. Now, what I found is that some of the things that I did when I was starting off at GTD this is back in 2006. We had smartphones, but they were not really smart. We had we had a touch screen. At least I remember I had a Sony Henriksen with a touch screen back in that day, where we set up and we used Exchange servers to sync emails, and it was the first. I don't know. Do you remember that, Lars? When you tried to sync with your mobile phone? Were you on Exchange back in that days?
No. Yeah. I had. I'll do you one better. I think I had there was this Palm Pilot. What was it? I just heard a podcast. Someone referenced it, where you had this dock that you had to place it in, and then it would sync like not wirelessly.
Yeah.
And there was just so many problems with the screens. No, I should know this name. Well, anyway, I'm sure someone out there will know and sympathize with me, because that was just horrible to get that work.
Send Lars an email at podcast@vitallearning.
No, hot sync. That's
okay.
The one. Hot sync. It was not hot, or I don't know. It did not.
No.
Work.
No, well, I didn't use that. I had, we had some. I did back in 2006. I worked at Innovasjon AS, is a IT consultancy, and here in Norway. And one of the things that was emerging was Exchange sync server, so you can sync emails via the mobile internet to your phone. And the problem with that was that when you or my problem with that, probably a lot of other people said, you use a system where probably some people are still using that. It's like if something is not finished with an email, you will mark it as unread. and that leads you to get back to it. But what happened back in those days was that I used that as a way when I was off visiting clients or I was on the move. I opened my mobile phone and I read an email. And I said, okay, I have to get back to that. So I marked it. I did what you do, Lars. You've been very open about this, but you've used the email snacking. Yeah.
I sometimes think you put more into that than there is to it, but yeah, no, that can certainly happen.
Yeah. Okay. So my email snacking back in the day was when I was outside the office, and the email snacking would look like this: that I read an email on my phone and I marked it as unread, and because the sync back in that day was not really good. Sometimes it didn't take. So when I got back to the office, it was still unread, and therefore it was done. There was nothing more to do about this. And since email was my system, then that crashed the system. So so trying to get away from that took some time. I don't know. I know it took some time for you as well, Lars, because I remember looking at your system back in the day when you started as a trainer, and mine as well, not really GTD. And the reason I wanted to make touch upon the messes things up, is because getting things done is teaching you 5 very distinct steps that you can use to get everything out of your head. Clarify what everything means to you into a system you trust, and then reflect on the different things on a regular basis, like every weekly review, do that, and then you have engage, do what you need to do about the things that you've already decided. So there's a flow to your system, and there's nothing in your head, because your head is a fantastic place to have ideas, not holding them. And when you start, if you don't do your weekly reviews, which I didn't do for a long time until I understand the nature of them. When I understood I did one first, then it helped me. But I took some of my sticky notes, and I had notes everywhere. There was on the back of an envelope. I didn't collect them into one place, and that was a problem. And then I ran around like a headless chicken, like you would do. So if you look at
I think that is very common, right? Especially those. First of all, the weekly review, understanding that I spend so much time on that in trainings, and not everyone will still get it, right? It's just it feels. When they're used to that kind of reactive approach that people often have in their existing system, that weekly review just feels like overhead. Why would I want to go and spend time on that? Because this is just what it's like, and that's a great way for your system to fall off the tracks. And the other thing that you're reminding me of is this sort of like kind of a parallel system that people will sometimes tend to set up, where they kind of maintain their own system, kind of flag emails as unread, or using the not flagging, marking them as unread, or flagging them, or whatever else they might be doing, right? While at the same time also writing them over here, while at the same time also, so they have multiple systems that they try to maintain at the same time. And again, that trust in the system that it all comes back to just doesn't show up when you have this multiple locations, and because we all fail at and keeping those up to date.
I have a coaching client that I've been engaged with for some time. He's well, I wouldn't call it wise, but it is something he's trying to get away from. Is because he decided he made a commitment to himself that he will only use Microsoft To Do as his task list. So capture should happen on the task list. But he now is and of course, it is okay to capture somewhere, but your tools, your system for holding those commitments after you clarify them should be one place. But he is doing it in hybrid way, that he's doing it in to do partially, and when it gets a little too hot around him, where it's a little too many things that is happening, he falls back to paper, which is, it's not bad, but it is inefficient. So he's trying to train himself to go back to, or not go back to, but go on to fully engaging with Microsoft To Do.
Yeah, interesting. No, and that's part of the friction as well that I think some people experience. And again, one of the reasons why I think all the AI stuff is so interesting right now. See, I managed to bring AI into this as well.
You're really good.
No, but I think there's such a huge opportunity, and as recently as yesterday, and I was asking Siri to remind me about something on my watch. Remind me of this when I came home. I said, "Can you repeat that?" And it is amazing to me that a bigger company as Apple is not on this already, and that there's such a big opportunity that we can just talk to it and it'll know what to do with it, and it can capture it and get put in the right place. And if that was the friction, I think capturing would be a whole lot easier. And then the subsequent steps will be a whole lot easier. So require more from you. But that's the next thing to talk about.
No, and one of the other things that I see that is. I've done it myself, and I see with my coaching clients that they have I would call it an addiction to their inbox as a system.
Yeah.
I guess you've seen the same, Lars, since you now go. Yeah.
Maybe I have been there partially myself.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to call you out, but it is. But I've done the same thing, and I still have. Yeah. Sometimes it's difficult to to clarify down to 0 emails, and people. But when you get into that, as your modus operandi, so your default mode should be 0 email after you clarified, and sometimes it's really enticing to, well, this email is I'm sure he will answer in a couple of minutes, and I can get that out of the way, but I need that email to reference to, and that is like you create an illusion to yourself that email in your email inbox is a task system, which is not supposed to be that. And but to see the freedom and the joy when people get to 0 for the first time, and then consequently when they've done it 2-3 times, they say, "Oh, this is addiction. I love this feeling," because it feels like you have a full overview and full control, which is really good. But
absolutely.
Do you have any other places in your world as a trainer, as a personal experience, that you can say that you try to mix your old habits with some new habits?
I think if I sort of zoom out a bit. I think one of the classics, if we should call it that, is also when they start to, mix capturing with organization. That they jump too quickly, because that is, mom, bank, doctor, ad campaign. That slide, I still remember that from the old material that we used to give keynotes in, and it's that was a familiar to-do list for many. That was just kind of this is a word that reminds me of this complex scenario. Doesn't explain what I need to do about it, doesn't explain any kind of finish line, next actions and projects, and so people will maybe think that they do GTD, but in reality they have mom on their phone list, which, well, we're one step on the path towards the real GTD system, but we're not there yet. Right? So that's certainly one thing that has shown up in my GTD coaching experience, at least.
And in mine as well. And we're going to come back to you think you're doing GTD, but you really are not episode at some point. But it is also a very common thing is to do what you tell you. You're trying to skip the clarify step because it's mentally tasking and you're tired. I don't have time or I don't have the energy, so I just put it on the list and I feel a little better. But when you look at that, the thinking is not done and you are setting up sales for potential failure in the future. So be kind to the future.
Exactly.
Future you. Do not make that hybrid. Don't mix it up. It's going to mess you up at the end of the day. So did you see what I did there?
I saw it. Well done. No, but that's exactly it, right? The anxiety that follows, because that will stay longer on your list than it has to most likely, right? So again, people will point the finger at GTD when really the problem is that they were still stuck in their old ways. And the last one that I also that came up for me was the that people will want to prioritize very early on in the process instead of making these flat context-based lists and trying to just keep it simple. They want to do ABC prioritization, or they want to create separate lists, or they want to star, and they want to use priority 1 to 4 in Todoist, and they want to, all that
color categories.
Yes, I need colors, and great if you do, if that helps, great. But really, it's tricky, and the people will tend to jump to this too fast, and it's. To some extent, I don't know how you deal with it. I really try to explain this in detail in the trainings and coachings, but also sometimes I do understand that when people first set off with GTD, they will do a mind sweep and they will see oh my God, have I not submitted this? Have I not done this? So there will be some things that we have to star or put on the calendars. Has to happen on Monday when I'm back at the office or whatever it might be. So there is some flexibility. I don't think we have to, we don't want this episode to come off as you have to implement everything all at once. And not at all, but just it is for many people, they try to write down the most important things and leave all the other stuff out. And as listeners will know, this is tricky. That's not how it works.
No, this is just that the reason I wanted to talk about the mixing things up, messes things up, is because it is a heated warning for you who are fresh with GTD or has been doing GTD for some time, is that when you're trying to create a hybrid system based on your old ways and the GTD ways, they don't always fit. Most likely they don't. So trying to replace as much of your existing system with getting things done is going to give you a way better result than if you are trying to create a hybrid and live in that. That's my that's my take on this.
Yeah, but it is tricky, right? Because that's the devil saying, right? That sticking with the well-known non-working system, that's what we stick with, as opposed to the unknown, which might be a whole lot better. And in the end, with this hybrid approach, you have something that is not as comfortable as the old system, which you were used to, and doesn't give you the clarity of the new GTD system that we were looking at. So it is tricky. It's and many people. This brings us back to I'm playing a bit with Crucial Influence again these days, and thinking of that, and we have a training coming up, so that's why it's a bit on my radar. That again, it's so easy to attribute this to laziness, that we don't go all in. But that, I think, there's in this case there's really a lot of trust, and when you don't trust that the GTD will then catch everything that your old system normally would have caught, then you kind of get stuck in that middle. So hopefully this episode reaches someone that is kind of stuck in that in-between space, and that this resonates with them, so they can get that. And they can be 20% GTD, 80% their old system, or the other way around. And I hope that this episode at least helps people regardless of where they are, if they are not already all in.
Yes, and I do wholeheartedly agree with you. I don't know if I think we might have reached the end of this episode. We are probably going to make shorter episodes, or are we going to continue, Lars, to to the second
I
topic?
think let's make the shorter episode. Let's try. As we spoke about in the pre-show, we have a lot of people saying that they wish that we would provide more episodes the way that we used to. And Morten has been saying this for quite a while, and I I have decided to jump on board, and let's get back to the old schedule. So we will go for every 2 weeks, but we will perhaps do some shorter episodes or some longer ones. Let's see what the future holds.
Yes. So, and I can see that already that we are having some, issues with the stream today. So I'm sorry for those of you who are looking at this at YouTube. You may see that Lars is a little pixelated today, or has been during the show. I'm sorry about this. Internet is something that's outside our control. So I hope that you are not cutting us off, but hit that subscribe and like button. I hear the young kids say. So I hope you will. So will you take us out, Lars?
Yes, happy to. And then there are two things that I have to mention before we wrap up the episodes. Before you get to say your catchphrase, Morten, one is, of course, the GTD Summer Camp. It is filling up. GTD Summer Camp 2026, June 12 to 14. Really, it's 13 to 14, but I say 12 to 14 because we start on the Friday with a nice dinner and get to hang out and meet everyone and have a glass of Coca-Cola or a glass of wine or whatever you want in the evening. It is 99%, I think, of the attendees that show up on Fridays. So it is really from Friday to Sunday. GTDsummercamp.com is the place to go to find more information. We are working hard. The organizing group is working hard on the program. It'll be a lot of fun. We have David and Catherine joining us once again, and their dogs. This is, exquisite. This is, a very special 2026 summer camp. I think we've sold more than 2/3 of the tickets now as of this recording. So if you thought about joining, this is not even marketing, Morten, jumping in. This is this is realistic now. We have be sure to go in there and sign up so we don't lose the seat for you. We have, I think, about 60 seats again this the year that we have planned for, which seems to be a great number. And again, these are the nicest people that are coming from all around the world. So really hope to see you there. I'll be there. Morten will be there. Fantastic GTDers will be there. So hope to see you there. The other thing to mention, or do you want to add something about the summer camp?
No, just be there or be square. It's the
saying all the hip things this episode. That's fantastic.
It used to be hip. But this is the lowest hanging fruit on the GTD tree when you want to have a community with other people. If you want to learn getting things done, this is the most affordable way of doing it physically with another person. So, yes.
Yeah. No, it's really great. So glad we got to set that up, and we have so many people. Jens made the calculation in the most recent meeting we had the other night, where I don't remember the number, but it's like 80% of recurring visitors. Let's call that. So people really do come back because it's a lot of fun. So
this is the 6th year, so it's not a fresh thing. It's well baked and people love it. So come.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing for a pixelated Lars to share with you all is, of course, the vitallearning.eu website. That is the website that is sort of the landing page for Vital Learning across the Nordics Plus. Find us what we do in Norway, in Denmark, in Finland, in Estonia. Go there and have a look. You can find your way to the different country websites, read more about what we do, learn more about GTD offerings, but also all the other offerings we have. vitallearning.eu. If you're outside the Nordics Plus, then cruciallearning.com is a great place to go to find your local partners.
And I will just have a little marketing chat with you as well about something that is not the most affordable way of doing things, but one of the things that we've been having a great success with, which is the GTD Master Class Retreat. The next one is in September 2nd to 4th of September. Can you look that up while I'm talking?
About right.
Yeah. In Denmark, we are going to, there is maximum 12 participants. We are, if David and if David is in good health, which we hope, he's just been celebrated 80 years old now, and he will come and be with us in Holkenhavn Castle in Denmark. It is like, be there if you're interested in finding out your direction of life. Check it out. There is a link in the show notes that Lars will add for this. And as I always do at the end, I have to say my catchphrase, which was actually originated during COVID. So, and then that made extra sense back then, but it still makes sense, and maybe even more now in the turbulent days that we see in the world with all the craziness going on. Stay safe and stay productive. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.